Missile Cav. Otherwise known as skirmisher cavalry, these boys are agile, disruptive, and can be great for whittling down the enemy troops. Having them put out enough damage though for the amount you pay for them can be a tricky business. So we're going to talk about what we have to do to make the most of our skirmisher cavalry. So, Missile Cav typically has two primary functions. One, to try and whittle down enemy units to help out the main army, and two, just to be disruptive as hell, annoy the opponent, give them something to think about, and maybe draw some units away from the main army to divide them up a bit. This applies both on and offline. Online, it will force your opponent to keep an eye on the Missile Cav, always giving him something to think about, increasing his risk of making mistakes. Offline, the AI will very often send units after your Missile Cav that have no hope in hell of catching them, like these Black Orcs here. Now, one of the most important things to realise about Missile Cav is that they are absolutely horrendous at taking any kind of damage. Whether it's from melee, from missiles, from magic, they don't stick around long when under any kind of fire. So avoiding damage is very important for Missile Cav. You have to keep an eye out for the potential threats to you. Cavalries that are faster than you or warhounds could catch up to you. Flying units typically have over 100 speed, which means they can easily catch up to you. And don't even think about trying to trade fire with a missile unit because they will outgun you very quickly. So, Captain Obvious, keeping them safe is very important. If you see one of these threats coming towards you, pull them back towards something in your army that can defend them. Now, the biggest trouble with Skirmisher Cav is that it doesn't have the biggest damage output in a short space of time. Because there's less men in a unit, it means they don't have as much damage output as say your regular missile unit. And they're constantly having to run away from things usually, which means they can't get settled and just lay down fire. So what the hell am I supposed to do with them then, I hear you cry? Well, in my findings, longevity is the key. Keeping them alive for as long as possible is where they really shine. A constant output of damage throughout the entire battle means they'll rack up a good amount of damage and kills against the enemy. Now, the reason I feel the need to mention this, even though it is pretty obvious, is because online you very often see people bring 4 or 5 units of Skirmisher Cav, maybe more, and they just get absolutely destroyed every time. Because it's very difficult to try and keep that many units of Skirmisher Cav alive. And very often you'll get them all routed within the first 2 minutes because the person simply can't micro that many. So my advice is that if you do want to bring Skirmisher Cav, 1 or 2 units is enough. You'll be able to whittle away at certain units, disrupt the enemy, and hopefully be able to keep them safe from any threats. They're also better against certain factions who can't really deal with them too well, like the Dwarves or the Chaos. Very slow, don't have a lot of things that can catch them, but against the Wood Elves, let's say, very fast flying units, lots of range on the missiles, they're not really in too much danger from Missile Cav. So pick and choose based on your opponent also. And that is how I believe Skirmisher Cav can be most effective. Don't bring too many and look to keep them alive for the entire battle. And our last few quick pointers. Running into missile units can be a damn good way to disrupt them, even if you don't stay there to fight them in melee. Poison can be a great way to lure enemies in to make them think they're going to catch you, and then they'll find that they're too slow to catch you because of the poison. Make sure you use the right armor type against the right armor, so armor piercing missiles on heavily armored units. If you can get your Missile Cav behind the enemy front line while they're engaged with yours, this is where they can do a hell of a lot of damage. And if you should run out of ammo with your Missile Cav, you'll find that they're great for running down routed units to prevent them from coming back. So there you have yourself a little tactical injection about Missile Cavalry. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the future.